Fucking hell, let's try again. Right.
Episode 21.
I feel like there's some kind of deja vu going on here.
Could be. There might have been a slight hiccup.
We started, and then the recording thing always does this, where it has a bit of a
Meltdown.
tantrum, and then we have to start again. So you may or may not have got that start bit. Oh, fuck it. So the wheels are coming off.
I thought that was the door knocking, but it was your phone.
Where is my phone?
For the people on
Where is it?
the people listening while he's trying to find his phone, the people listening on YouTube will probably notice a slight difference that you can see our faces. We're giving it a little go of.
Where's it gone?
Has it gone in the gap of the actual sofa down there? Yeah, so you can see our faces, hopefully. Unless something went really wrong.
I've emerged from Narnia.
He's got his phone back.
Out the wardrobe. Yeah, John's set up a camera.
See if this works out well or not.
John's in his normal seat. Normally I'm sat on that end of the sofa, which you probably can't see on the camera. And
At that angle you can't, but
no.
I have checked, we can get the whole sofa in without all the crap in the background.
Cool. And normally Mason sits here.
Yeah.
I did this before, so the joke's not as good now because I've done it, but I'll do it again because the machine fucked up. Oh, I'm Mason. Wrestling, it doesn't exist. The earth is flat. Meh.
Do you think he actually thinks that Earth's flat?
I don't know. Wouldn't put it past him.
He's not here to defend himself.
Exactly. We can spout all kinds of shit about him behind his back.
And he will never know.
It's not like this is going out on multiple places on the internet.
To millions of people that listen.
All of our millions of fans.
Yeah. We do actually have one fan that has recently, I think, consistently listened.
100%.
Yeah, from another country.
From another country?
Yeah.
It's not Mexico, is it?
Yeah, it is.
It is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, you're good at, what's the word? You're the attraction here, apparently.
Well, by the sounds of it, they find it quite funny with hola.
Hola.
Either you or Mason says the way you say it. I think it's you.
Me, that's him.
Hola.
I think it's you.
Guacamole.
You've done it a couple of times.
He did it a few episodes ago, and then now I do it because it's a thing.
Yeah. It just became a thing. I said, we never did it before.
Hola, guacamole. That's just for her.
Yeah. There you go.
My friend Josh speaks Spanish, and he taught me some naughty words.
Yeah. Do you want to say anything?
No, I'm shy.
I know no Spanish.
There were some that we tried to teach to you when you said you might be going to Mexico or something.
Oh, yeah. You tried getting me to say some words.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew for a fact, as soon as you start telling me something in Spanish, I knew it wasn't going to be good.
Naughty words.
Yeah.
Right.
But let's get into it. How are you?
Episode.
We already said that.
Did we, though?
Yeah.
This time?
Yeah.
Fuck. 21.
Yeah, 21.
How are you?
I've already said it.
We're not doing percentages.
I think we should still.
Well, I miss the percentages.
Yeah, same.
Tell you what,
It
we
was
can
good.
do them, but not spend as long talking about them.
Yes.
I've had 2 weeks now to come to terms with that change. And sometimes that just takes time. So now I'm all right with that
Yeah.
constructive feedback that we got about that. I am sitting at about 90%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's your training going?
Not well. No, it's just there's lots going on at the minute, which is good to be super busy, but like lots of stuff coming up. We've had family and stuff and blah. So again, just finding time to train is my main challenge at the minute. And I'm not really training for anything specific because I don't have like my challenge right now is just to have the time, like carve out the time to train. That's my challenge, not anything specific at training. If I can just keep the wheels turning, then I'm good, which is fine because I think there's a lot of this might just be the old person in me coming out, but like there's lots of like hungry blue and purple belt social media stuff at the minute, which is cool, but again ties into our conversation we had a few weeks ago about like the relationship you have with jiu-jitsu
and what you're trying to get out of it.
Some people are still in that like, oh my god, I love you so much, like super intense, whereas I think you and I are like old married couple to jiu-jitsu, like where it's just like it's very stable and it's always going to be there, but there's lots of other things going on that require your time and your attention and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to, I don't want to speak for you, but maybe I need to find something to rekindle the jiu-jitsuing. Like I love it.
Yeah.
But it's difficult when there's so much else going on to give it the time. And commitment and stuff.
Do you think it's made much difference on your mental state, not being able to train as much, or do you feel still the same?
A bit, yeah. There's that like really good after a proper hard training session feeling you get, and there's like that like tired stiffness the next day, which is like a good thing rather than a bad thing. So you miss that, and if you don't train as often, your conditioning goes down. So when you do train, it's harder. But then equally, I think you and I talked about this the other day, like going to an open mat or something, because I don't have as much time to train, I have to really cram it in during that time that I'm training.
Yeah.
So no rest rounds. If someone says, let's roll, 99% of the time, unless I really don't trust them, it's got to be a yes.
Yeah.
And that's just me. I put those stipulations on it because I really want to maximize the time I am in the gym. But I then probably regret it later. we talked about someone, I'm not going to name their name. I don't think he listens to this anyway, but someone at the gym, and if I was to, the scramble, not the scramble, the where you ring in the show your old tapes.
Oh yeah,
yeah. This would be my complaint, where you ring in like 33 year old brown belt here.
Yeah, you forgot your age.
I'm busy. I'm fucking tired. Mum and dad, I know you blue belts, or this particular one, like you take a rest round or two, you watch me get smashed by someone who's bigger than I am, probably some purple belt who's just like smashing me, and then you're like, hey, let's roll. And I'm like, and people know I don't really say no to anyone. No. Because I feel like even though I'm not very big, my jiu-jitsu is good enough I can ride it out. Yeah. Even if I just play a super defensive game the whole time, I ride it out, it's not a big deal. But, and then you watch me, and you come up, and you go like 100%. And sometimes, like, it's all right because it's a combat sport, but then sometimes I don't want to be your, the way you test yourself. No. Because I know we're coaches, but I'm also there for me. Yeah. So anyway,
and everyone trains for different reasons as well. Like you get some people who are there because they want to be really good in jiu-jitsu and compete and get medals. Then you have some people just do it casually as an exercise and because they enjoy it.
Yeah, but I've started going up to those people, that person, when I'm not tired.
And then giving them a round.
And it's really fucking different. Just to keep my ego up there, you know, instead of just getting smashed by people who are bit bigger than me, up to 10 years younger than me, hungry people, when I'm just like, just let me chill, bro.
Let me just flow.
But then you have the roles, like super technical roles, that with people who you've been training with for a long time, and it just, you're not fucking about, but you're equally not going like, with you, with Sean, with Bernie, Mason as well, loads of people like that. I'm enjoying rolling with the Johns, like all of you.
The J Squad.
The J Squad.
Which is very, John Harrison's mentioned it's very close to being one letter difference, and it could be quite different.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
You can be as J as you want.
Or G.
That's what I mean. You J Lords. Because you're all different, but you're all good, and different, like, ways to test your stuff.
Different ages as well.
Yeah, it's cool.
Weights.
So that was a long answer to how my training's going, but it's fine. It's good. Yeah. So I'm gearing up to teach this self-defense seminar. So some of my headspace with training is taken up with that, trying to work out exactly not just what I'm going to teach, but the right or the most effective way to teach it, I suppose. So I'm using my taught lessons on Tuesdays that I teach to kind of try out a few bits and pieces, not techniques, but just the way that they're taught and stuff. So to get the most out of people. So I feel like training at the minute, I'm digging deeper into the technique of how to instruct and how to teach it, rather than my own personal training. Yeah. Which is interesting, because that's another element of it. So, yeah, but no, generally very busy, but good.
Nice.
Sorry, that's such a long answer, wasn't it?
Half an hour later.
It's all about me. How are you?
I'm good.
All right, then.
No, it's been good. Slight different in, like, how your training's been going, as we were talking about, like, the ways of balancing life and training. But I've not had a day off since Monday last week.
Not had a day off training?
Yeah.
I thought you'd be going not quite hard, but quite consistent.
Yeah, so
recently.
This is nearly, was it 14 days maybe?
Wow.
Some days 2 sessions.
You're the opposite of me then.
Yeah, I don't know why, it's just happened.
Yeah.
I think because I had a busy week last week training and going off to, like, Weymouth, to Jurassic BJJ, and then open mat at Ippon and a couple classes, and then down to a scramble open mat. So, and then
what was all that like?
Really good.
Start with Jurassic, and we'll work our way through. Give us.
I think it was like the first time. I think it's like an ecological approach to jiu-jitsu. So it was first time experiencing that. It was good fun. Good group of people. Chris, the head coach there, he's come to a couple of my morning classes. So
Chris is really cool. He's come to some stuff with us when he's in the area.
Yeah, he was saying
cool guy.
When I was down there, forgot to mention to Bernie actually about next time he's down. He said, like, if he ever wants me, for him to, like, do a class or something like that.
Yeah,
which I'd
cool.
love for him to do one of my classes when he's down.
If you're in that area, he's at Sasquatch BJJ.
He's got his own place, Jurassic BJJ in Weymouth.
Yeah.
Cool bunch of people there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Then you went to Ippon.
Yep.
The HQ.
With Senor Jeffy.
Hefe.
Yep.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Jeff. No, that was good fun. Did a fundamental class, then a no-gi class, and then the open mat. So that was good fun.
Nice.
Always good getting down there.
Then you went to the Scramble Open Mat.
Yeah, in Birmingham at Royal Jiu-Jitsu.
This is the first time I've heard of this.
You're full of shit.
So John hasn't shut the fuck up about this for like a week.
I just love going to them. They're brilliant. Like the amount of different people you
Yeah,
meet.
but it's all right going to them, and then you're like, "Hey, John, like, can I ask you a question about something completely different?" And he's like, "Well, at the Scramble Open, Matt, blah, 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 blah."
I think it's just good for. I was saying to Bernie, I want him to come to one because I'd like to see him come to one and just.
So I joke, but I think it looks really cool and really good energy and a nice kind of like an event. A jiu-jitsu event. I think it looks really cool. I'm very jealous. I think the next one we should try and get a big team. I know you took quite a few people.
Yeah, I think it was Archie, Cam, me, and Jake.
The Thirsty Boys.
Yeah, met Marco there as well. That was cool.
Yeah, Marco. Yeah.
Haven't seen him in a while, so that was good to train with him again. But no, and then I tried a judo class for the first time this week.
Oh, judo.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah.
Fitness was completely different.
So we don't do a lot of that anymore. So we used to do quite a lot of fitness and conditioning during classes.
Yeah, which I'm happy that we don't.
It's kind of petered off, and I wonder the reason why. Maybe that can go on the list of questions for Bernie round 2.
Yeah.
Couldn't it?
What's your opinion on it?
I think it's got a real place for people who like to compete and people who want to train hard. Not everyone really wants that, because if you wanted to go to a exercise strength and conditioning class, you could join a CrossFit gym or something like that.
That's what my opinion's always been. Like, you join jiu-jitsu because you want to learn jiu-jitsu. You don't do it to... But then, as you say, equally, it's good to get fit, and if you're looking to compete and stuff like that, it's good.
And you can do burpees anywhere. Like, I get coming to a class because you aren't self-motivated enough to do it yourself and do that kind of thing as well as jiu-jitsu, but you can do that kind of stuff anywhere, anytime. Being taught jiu-jitsu and getting to practice jiu-jitsu, you can't do anytime, anywhere necessarily, unless you've got a good regular training person, but you're still not getting taught it necessarily. So, and I think something I've noticed, and this is again, me getting deeper into teaching and how I teach and the way different things should or shouldn't be taught, is catering to everyone is quite difficult sometimes, to make sure everyone gets something out of whatever they've paid to turn up to, in terms of skill, experience, but also their fitness too. Because you could get someone who this is the only exercise they do, and they've been completely not doing any exercise for 20 years, and they want to get fit and they want to do it by doing jiu-jitsu, compared to the 22-year-old competition, go, that they're going to have completely different levels of fitness. And you don't want to turn someone off by doing too much or not doing enough.
No. And I think when I first started jiu-jitsu, I think my first class, we did a circuit training before doing any of the techniques. And doing that, I found once I hated the start because I nearly passed out and had to go outside because I thought it was going to be sick. But then once we got to the actual jiu-jitsu, I was like, I love this.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking, I have to get fitter so I can actually do the bit I enjoy. So it sort of forced me through those fitness segments to be able to do the jiu-jitsu. However, but then some people will go the other way, wouldn't they? They'd be like, oh, it's too difficult. I'm not going to bother. Yeah,
and as it's certainly doing a beasting, then doing techniques, I think has its place, especially for competition training.
Yeah.
Because you have to be able to implement those techniques when you're fucked.
Yeah.
But you have to know the techniques already, because if you go into it tired, you're not going to be absorbing as much as you would if you weren't too, obviously you have to be warmed up, but not necessarily totally fucked. I don't know. But we'll ask Bernie next time he's on. That's a stick on the list.
Yeah, because we've got a bunch of questions for him, and I think a lot of people would like to ask some questions.
Yeah.
And a deeper dive into his story.
So you're all right then? You're doing okay?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Had a bit of a limp for the past week.
A limp?
Yeah. My brother seems to think it might be my some like ligament damage.
Is he a doctor?
Pardon?
Is he a doctor?
No.
Is he a healthcare professional?
No.
All right then.
The lady who does my massage and says I probably should see a doctor, which I think is a good option, but I've just been training.
Or just get an opinion off your brother.
Yeah. Well, I just mentioned to him, my ankle's been fucked.
To be fair, he's right though, I think.
Yeah. But no, I just keep training, push for it.
That's the spirit.
Yeah. It will just improve, I'm sure.
It's a very
However,
Bushido code of you, the spirit of the samurai coming through of just power through.
However, also by the time this comes out, dependent on I'll just do it anyway. I would have signed up to reorg comp.
Oh, you signed up.
Well, by the time this comes out, I would have.
So you haven't done it yet, but you will have.
Yeah.
Cool. That's exciting.
Haven't competed in, was it a year and a half, 2 years? So
that's cool. Yeah. This is the other thing, like that's it. Is that the 26th of April, is that? The end of the month?
Possibly. I'll have to check. Just to make sure I'm actually available.
This is my struggle with like stuff because we've got loads of family stuff coming up. And so it's like cool things like competitions, even just going to support other people.
Yeah.
I'm like, every date coming up, especially like a weekend date, in my head is potentially some double booking or something. And so that's...
Because I'm pretty sure Ross and John Vickers are signed up.
Yeah, I believe they are.
So
Mason said if you sign up, he'll sign up.
I was going to say that.
So this is a good way to get him to do it.
It's the only reason I'm doing it.
If you want to see Mason shit himself, you should come to that.
Yeah, come to reorg.
Normally, if there's any kind of competition, you can next to guarantee Mason's going to do a poo.
Yeah.
Not necessarily during a match.
No. Potentially, possible.
We all get those though.
What, nervous poos?
Yeah. Someone called it, I think it
I
was
tend
like,
to just go to sleep.
Someone called it like a battle dump or something. I can't remember what it was. It was like something like that where like it's
you just get the nerves.
Instinctive and an evolutionary thing where you have to empty your gut like completely to go into combat.
So if you're someone who's just going to watch a competition, be careful going to the toilets. Because everyone's shitting.
Yeah, that's not just him. That's everyone.
Yeah.
When you go to weigh in, don't obviously take a chance. But like normally, I'll turn up. I'll have pissed out everything, taken like three dumps that day, and they're like, "Oh, you're like considerably comfortably underweight." And I was like, "Oh, I thought I was like only just." But it's because everything's out of your you've dropped so much of your weight just by emptying.
The last, I think it was the Neon comp, the last actual comp that I did, because the last time I competed was a super fight. But the last comp was Neon, and I remember I had like drunk nothing that morning just so I could try and weigh in. And if I'd drunk something, I don't think I would have made the scales. But I was so dehydrated, I was just done straight away. But I think most of the time I find when I get to a comp, I'm so nervous and just anxious and just I hate the scene of like loads of people there, loads of noise. I don't like stuff like that. So I tend to just go to sleep in the corner.
It's not necessarily the actual competing.
No.
Like you said, it's quite stressful situation that like it's always in a sports hall or something and it's super echoey and you're trying to hear the PA saying your category or your name. You can never ever tell what the fuck they're trying to say over that. And I've been to comps where I've completely like I've been stood there asking, is that me, or like next to some officials I completely missed my slot and I'm like, well, that happened to me as a white belt. I was there you
sure you actually didn't do that on purpose.
No, I was genuinely stood there thinking it's got to be soon.
Yeah.
I was stood right next to the bit where you go in. I was like, it's got to be soon. And I asked a guy, and he said that's 20 minutes ago. I was like, I stood there for fucking half an hour. I was here. Then they tried to enter me in the Absolute instead, and I was like, dude, I've paid to be here. I am here.
Yeah.
You saw me weigh in. I'm on the thing. Anyway, it's fucking stupid. But like that's a stress that you don't necessarily think about at competition, and then you go and actually compete.
It's like the first time I experienced competition, I think I had been training maybe a month or two, and I went to watch Ashley and my brother go do a competition. I think it was in Bristol, and it was run so poorly because Ashley went into the training area warming up, and then he was asked to go to the ball pit, and he ended up standing there for about an hour just cooling down, and didn't get any fight until about an hour, and by that time he's cold and just not warmed up.
There's a real spectrum of like standard of how they run. When you find a good one, people often keep going back to ones that are done well, because you pay to enter, so you want your money to go somewhere, right?
And it's not exactly cheap either.
No. And do you know what really, not so much now, but like to begin with, what really threw me, and I had the same thing as when I was used to kickbox as well, is when the matting is different to the mats you train on.
Yeah.
That completely throws me, because it's normally that spongy like stuff. It's the same for boxing. If you go into a ring, it's like the canvas is so different to normally you train on a regular floor. Yeah. And that completely threw me, and it continues to now.
And I think we're really lucky in that we've got a sprung floor, so it's amazing.
Yeah.
But then we go to a competition and like, the mat's really grippy. There's no like
brother. Like disgusting.
But no, it is competition isn't the funnest thing for me, but I do feel like every now and then I like to do it just to test myself.
Yeah.
But I've just been out of the scene for a while.
I think, again, if you go a lot, you're just desensitized to all of that external stuff. So you can then just concentrate on doing whatever you're doing.
Definitely. It'd be interesting to see what I'm like this time round. It's like I took like 2 years kind of out of the scene almost. Like I was really into it, dropped off for a bit, still trained, but just like died down, and then sort of building back up a little bit, but just keeping a good balance.
Yeah. Oh, can you hear my stomach rumbling?
Was that your stomach? I thought that was a plane going by.
That's my stomach. It's lunchtime.
What would you say is the worst injury you've had in jiu-jitsu so far?
That's interesting.
If you've had one.
I've been quite lucky, touch wood, I can touch my head, so basically I got into jiu-jitsu partially because of a climbing injury.
Yeah.
So I fell off a climb, and we're on camera, I can do this. I'd like jammed my arm in, there was a roof and a bit of a rock here and there, and I jammed my arm in here, and it was stepping over the roof, and fell off like this, but my arm was jammed in, so it went like that. So I basically stretched a bunch of tendons here in my rotator cuff, and I was kickboxing at the time, and that jerkiness of that combined with like climbing, I still to this day can't do anything that I reach up and back. This just like, I don't dislocate my shoulder, but it does come out. So if anyone puts me in like an Americana or even an arm bar that's really tight on my left arm, like I'll just tap straight away still, because it's not necessarily the pain of it, like it's tight, but it's because I'm really
put that in my notes.
Making notes. the beta.
Americana and get a DAS at some point.
Left arm. But to protect it.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the really good things about jiu-jitsu, is that you can just tap as long as your ego isn't getting in the way of injury prevention. I'll tap super quick. And like sometimes
You also got the option of you're just trying to practice your escapes, not just ego.
Oh yeah. I'm just trying to practice my escape. But like the other day, Bernie was demonstrating an arm bar, and he said and if they hitchhiker out, and I know how to hitchhiker escape, right? Like I do that a lot, but with this arm, it's kind of a no-go.
No.
So I just look like a total special, like can't do it. And I was like, then everyone was laughing, and anyway, it's fine. But stuff like that, it's like you don't quite think about it till you're trying to, because hitchhiker, you're out and you're spinning around it, which is the same as my arm going back. So I would just tap. Anyway, so I got into jiu-jitsu because of that, and I didn't want to box anymore. And you can protect it from the get-go, which even though we're practicing how to like shoulder locks and stuff, so you'd have thought it'd be a bad thing to do if you've got a bad joint, but actually, because you can protect it or tap, it's actually not as bad for injury. So that's a constant one, an old injury to protect. I haven't had any bad injuries caused by jiu-jitsu. I wonder, I think sometimes you're just unlucky, aren't you?
Yeah.
But then equally, a
lot of the time it's not just freak accidents, like we're in the scramble almost, I think.
But then equally, I kind of subscribe to like, if you catch a knee or an elbow, even off a spazzy white belt, let's say, that's partly down to you.
Yeah.
Not being tight enough, not being defensive enough. Even though we're not expecting strikes, there's an element of defensiveness and tightness and awareness. I've obviously caught a knee or an elbow or, a nut shot or anything, like stuff like that, but it's never been too bad. And I think it's the same with injury. I'm conscious my ankles are really weak because I spent so long kicking, and so my ankles are really weak, but I know that, so I can protect them or just tap. So because of that, whereas I think someone who had strong or regular ankles or knees would probably maybe choose to kind of test it a bit more or not tap as early, and that can be often where those injuries come. So I have a recurring intercostal kind of a thing where it tweaks and I just can't crunch or turn in a certain direction. And it is what it is. And sometimes they'll like flare up. Both my intercostal and my rotator cuff will like flare up. So you'll be, again, like it's normally when you're tired and having a roll with someone who's like really trying to test themselves against you, and you're like, oh, I can escape this, and you go to escape, but you can't. This and this stops you turning that way, and you're like, fine. And so you don't do the escape. So, and again, that's an ego thing where it looks like you don't know how, or you aren't, or you can't escape, and you're like, I just can't turn this way. My escape's right there, but I can't get there because I'm protecting it. Like I could get up on it, but the chance of me injuring this by doing that, I'll just not do it. And if they then put me in an arm bar on the other side or a triangle, then it is what it is, kind of thing. So I don't think, apart from intercostal, I've had a few scares with my knees and my ankles where something's gone pop or clunk, but then it's been all right after a week, so it's obviously nothing too bad. So touch wood, I haven't had any major or like training stopping injuries.
No.
You?
I think apart from blowing out my knee and doing a poor hitchhiker.
See, it's hard.
No, literally, I remember. I think I was a blue belt.
It is a very exposing escape.
Yeah,
in terms of the mechanics of your limb.
I just completely forgot to turn your thumb down. So they had hold of my wrist or my hand, and I span. So from my elbow to my hand stayed still, but the rest of the arm turned.
So you had all the momentum of your body working against your
elbow.
And
ever since then I've had like nerve damage there, I think, because if it overextends just a little bit too much, guarantee the rest of the day, maybe 2 days, depend on the extent, I'll just have bad feelings in my hand. I have to sort of shake the bottom of my hand to wake it up a little bit. And I did that recently, again, where Sean tried to get me in a like goth lock with an arm bar or something, and it was tight. I was like, I'm not going to tap, and then I sort of just span it to try and get it out, like change the angle. Managed to, but with the consequences of my arm then was pretty much dead for the rest of the day.
In fact, actually...
And the knee was self-inflicted because I was trying to calf slice Ashley and somehow blew my own knee out.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. There's a good video of that.
Because you're like turning your own leg into it and stuff, aren't you? And you want it so badly.
If I can find the video, I'll try and edit it into the YouTube clip. Put that in there.
Nice. The only other thing is having my ears drained.
Oh, yeah.
That's not an injury per se. Well, it's an injury, but it doesn't stop. Well, it does stop you training. That's the issue, is that on my left... Hold on. My right ear, I had... Hold on. Yeah, my left ear I had drained with a syringe the first time, which sucked because they're like, there's no point giving you anaesthetic with an injection because we're just going to have to, because that'll hurt.
That's the same thing.
Because we're just going to have to inject you to syringe it out. What they didn't tell me, though, is that they inject it, drain a bit, swirl it around a bit, and then drain some more, swirl it and drain. So it's not just like having an injection. It's
poking around.
A bit grim. And then the right one, but that, because it's just a pinprick, once it's healed up, you're pretty much good to go. But you're still dealing with the inside of the ear, like having to heal up and stick back together as to what's now cartilage instead of skin. But the other side, I had sliced to be drained and then stitched 3 times, or they have like a piece of plastic either side and they stitch it to stop it from swelling up again.
Yeah.
So they used to do it with, you know, when hunting dogs would have their ears cropped.
Yeah.
The reason for doing that, I think, is because they kept getting caught or snagged or on stuff, and they'd get a similar thing.
Barbed wire fences.
So I think back in the day, if you saw a dog with a button stitched to its ear, was to stop that.
Yeah.
They don't redo it now, which is a good thing. But
but
yeah, that obviously is an open wound and it's stitches, so you have to take time off for that.
Yeah.
But that's, again, not really an injury.
Do you think cauliflower ears are cool? Like, you meant to keep them?
Fuck yeah. What I did was ignore it, partly because I'm really lazy and I don't really like going to the doctor. Like, I have to be quite bad if I'm going to the doctor for something, anything.
That's like, for me, none of my injuries, like ankles or anything like that, I've ever been to the doctor apart from when I did something to my hand in the MMA class and it swelled up. And then I competed like 2 days later.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, I should probably get it checked, make sure it's not broken. But the only other time would have been staph.
But I was going to say to you, actually, your worst thing has been staph, which isn't, again, not an injury per se, but it's a bad thing from jiu-jitsu, and that made you take quite a bit of time off and had to have like proper intervention. Yeah,
because like before then, I never came across like skin infections or anything like that. Didn't really know anything about it. And when the pharmacy or the doctor just said, "Oh, it's just a bite, don't worry about it, put this on it and it'll go away," I was like, "Oh, that's what I've been told. Like, these are the experts, they know what they're talking about." Wrong. And then it just gets worse and worse and worse. And then end up in hospital for 2 days. Luckily, I didn't have to have it cut. I had a shower on the it might have been the morning of the second day. Or was it in the 3 days? I don't know. But I just remember having a shower and the skin heating up. As it got warm, then it just burst and just like pus just down the leg. And then luckily after that I was just like, great, now it doesn't have to be cut open. Now the healing's going to be quicker. It means I can get back to training sooner. And yeah.
Yeah, but that was bad.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
The thing that made me get my ears drained was the pain stopped me sleeping
Oh, really?
because I couldn't lie on them. That's when I was like, oh, I'm actually doing.
But does the pain start to go away as it hardens?
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
could have just let it.
There's the squishy stage, which is the stage at. Oh, sorry. Interruptions.
That's the stage where you can get it drained.
You can get it drained because the liquid is still in there, but when it turns into whatever it turns into, then you can't anymore. But there is an element of that, it being, especially if you do jiu-jitsu and you don't need to look as presentable for your job.
Yeah. I was saying that, like, from having this black eye, so many customers like looking directly at it, and
It's amazing what people are not accustomed to, like.
yeah,
Like that isn't a bad.
No.
Like I barely noticed that, but
Yeah.
because we're so used to that kind of thing.
like my legs are constantly got bruises.
Whereas someone else is like, "What happened to your eye?" And you're like, oh,
I don't know.
Is there something wrong with my eye?
I can see you,
Yeah.
but yeah, injuries are just doing a combat sport or just sports in general. You're always going to pick up something.
So I was thinking about this actually. Now that you mentioned cauliflower ear, do you think there's not as much cauliflower ear around than there used to be?
What do you think? Everyone's got like stronger immune system to collie ear or something.
No, it doesn't seem to be as
Popular.
pretty popular. Like you go out and get it in a shop, but like it doesn't seem to be as common
No.
nowadays compared to when we started, or like back in the day.
Everyone's got it back then.
Do you reckon?
I don't notice it. Like when I'm rolling with people, I don't tend to notice it, but then I'm not really looking at everyone's ears.
Well, are we? So again, like your eye, are we desensitized to it, and everyone's got
because it just looks
scabby
normal.
ears and yeah. But I was thinking that I haven't had to. Like sometimes if people start getting it, and there have been a few people come up to me and ask about it,
Yeah.
I don't really get that very much. And I wonder,
I know there was a couple of people who had their ears drained and cut open, stuff like that.
but I think, is it partly to do with the leg lock game and the guard
be.
game being so popular compared to
Before,
when it was much like the focus on the upper body was slightly more, I don't know.
could be. However, I could be a trendsetter now because we're working on collar and sleeve on the Friday mornings.
Yeah.
And we're shooting triangles, so potentially Collie's coming back in a strong way.
A big way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something that came to me the other day and thought, I haven't really seen any bad collie ear for quite some time.
No. I haven't, to be fair. But as you say, we're probably just used to it.
Yeah,
It's just not unusual to see.
yeah.
Did you know something actually quite cool that happened? I'm not sure if you saw it on his story, but Joe Rogan and Steve Austin following Jeff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
the other day,
legend.
both of them started following him.
Do you
Which
reckon
is pretty
that's
cool.
from the Polaris, the video that went super viral?
Potentially.
'Cause
That does
was
like rounds.
everywhere on the internet.
Yeah,
like I know Jeff's a name in the MMA. Like if you know MMA history from like back in the day, and Jeff was very much around and involved, so that is a contributing factor.
But that video alone of Polaris, that makes its rounds once, like every year.
Yeah,
it
every
just
now and
pops
then.
up
Yeah.
and it's like it's out there. But I forgot his name. There's a guy who does jiu-jitsu. He does a lot of videos, like reacting videos. I think he was on Who's Number One or something like that, or ADCC. But he did a video talking about it, didn't he?
Is it
That
the
clip.
Australian guy?
Might be.
The
Where
big
he
guy.
didn't know who Jeff was. And he was talking about it could have been a competition where it was judo rules or something like that.
No, yeah, it's just
He
not.
didn't understand exactly
Yeah.
what was going on. But
Yeah, that is a great one. That is great. And
Yeah.
like everyone's like cheering, and you see like all the Ippon people like, fuck yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Jeff's like going around like,
Yeah.
it's fucking great. Yeah,
Oh.
that's a big deal. We've covered quite a bit of the stuff you'd already written down anyway. The big thing to talk about,
What's that?
Craig Jones, CGI,
Ooh.
wrestling.
I really want to go to that. Like, I don't know if the tickets are already out. I haven't seen anything about the tickets yet. But,
In America?
yeah.
You want to go?
Yeah. I was saying in the group chat, I think before you joined that group chat, I said, does anyone want to come? Because, like, if the tickets are, like, reasonable price,
Yeah.
I'm going.
We actually said we're not going to talk about that because Mason wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, he wants to talk about all the wrestling stuff.
Well, yeah,
We
but
could talk a little bit about...
But that's kind of tied into it because next CGI, Craig's going to fight a high-level wrestler.
The whole thing was, like, at first, it didn't come out on the 1st of April. So everyone thought it was, like,
people
April
thought
Fool's.
it was a joke, yeah.
But he's come out and said it's not, I think. But what's your favourite rule set when it comes to jiu-jitsu? Because for me, it's quintet style, like team 5v5. I just think you can't beat it.
I haven't been exposed to enough quintet. Like, I've obviously watched the big ones. I couldn't come to the last one that we did with the other Paraestras.
It was so exciting.
Which looked like a really cool day.
Thing is, for the competitors,
I can't remember what I was doing, but I was like literally not like available, so I couldn't come.
I mean, like, for the competitors in a quintet style, there's so much like pressure on them because you're like, you don't want to be the one to let down your team and put your team on the back foot. Because as soon as like you've been tapped, then suddenly the other team's got like 5v4 and then they're one person up on you. It's like, you don't want that situation.
Yeah, so I think that's definitely a really good way to inject some like drama and almost like story to it. There's a real like team story structure because you've got the beginning, the middle and the end.
Yeah.
Of like, if something happens at the start, it's going to affect the rest of the match. Whereas in a 1-to-1 jiu-jitsu match, if something happens at the start, you just carry on or you're out. It doesn't affect the rest of the whole match kind of thing. So I think that's a really good element of it, and you get to cheer your teammates on, and you also get to watch who you could be competing against straight away afterwards.
Yeah.
So if they keep doing something, if you just go into a competition cold, you might have obviously watched them in the past, but that day, if they've obviously been really working on something, and I've got a fucking brilliant counter to whatever they seem to be doing, you're like, let me go.
And the thing is as well, like, if you know they're bringing out one of their bigger guys first or something, there's the tactic of, do you go for the sub or do you try and just take this guy out of the competition with yourself? Because if it goes the whole way and there's no submission, then both of you are off.
Yeah,
just like, there's tactics to it.
You can have...
And who do you have go first and who do you have last? And
which is cool because you can implement... You almost have... It's a bit like... You know, in those online, like the not Dungeons and Dragons games, but like, what am I saying? The roguelike games online where you're like, you have a team of people and you take it in turns, step by step by step, and it's very strategic. And you've got like the big one, but is also slow. The little one who knows lots of spells, and then someone else, and like everyone's got a strength and a weakness. Yeah. And I think that's a really cool element of it. And like, look at the 10th Planet one where Richie Martinez got tapped and then Gio was next. And it was a big like discrepancy. Like the guy was really big and he was really small. And he went to like avenge his brother. And there's like, you get these like small stories and clashes of personalities within it. So I do think certainly for spectating,
it's exciting.
Definitely the best. And you get to still implement your jiu-jitsu. But within that, because that's a structure, not the actual, the rule set. Yeah. If you know what I mean. I think, I think it's got to be sub only. I think we can all agree, really, now. And like, I get why the IBJJF
Do the comps,
system,
points.
the points and stuff still exists. And I agree with it to an extent because it encourages you in a direction.
I just don't like those
also
wins.
encourages you to do other things.
Yeah.
Like getting just stall on an advantage or something.
And then
all
like
this bullshit.
slapping the mats because you're winning by advantage. It's
Yeah,
like,
and you're like, bro, chill. Like even slapping the mats and like pointing up to Jesus, like I'm number one. And you're like, even if you've done something cool and tapped someone out by doing that, there's an element of like, mate, just chill. It's fine. Personally, my opinion, I
But I
think people
guess it depends on how much effort you've put into the training. Because like if this person spent all year leading up to this comp and like it's a really big comp, and then they win it, then you can kind of understand the whole like jump for joy and cheer.
Yeah, I get it, but I think maybe I'm quite an introvert anyway, and I feel like you can celebrate a bit, but also celebrate
Too much.
on the inside
Yeah.
with your inside
Just smile.
personality. Yeah. Like I like Ryan Hall, where he'll like do some crazy shit, tap someone out, like snap an ankle or something, then just be like,
Okay.
for those who aren't actually watching, because that thing might have died. He does this like shrug. That's his thing. Whether he wins or loses, it's normally when he wins. He just does this like shrug. He's like,
Okay.
like that's kind of cool. So I don't know. There's something about celebrating. Someone has to have been taken the L for you to get a win, and there's an element of celebrating. But then I'm sat here saying, "Oh, that time the Polaris video with Jeff getting the crowd going and stuff," and I'm sat here saying that was awesome. So maybe I have some double standards going on because I loved that.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm not as emotionally invested in some random winning IBJJF, but it's also the way you win. That was pretty spectacular. You're allowed some, whereas if you win by like an advantage point and then you do all that shit, it's like, okay, maybe we should scale our celebration to the style of victory. It's not what you do, it's the way that you do it.
So, say you competed not competed. You trained all year for the Worlds, and Samuel Chessel gets gold medal. How do you celebrate?
Well, go to Sembone.
No, I mean on the mat, not afterwards. Like, what's the first thing you do?
I'd quite like a cookie.
You win by submission.
In all honesty, I think I would give my opponent a bit of a hug
You reckon?
because they've trained really fucking hard as well.
No. But that's the first thing you do
My
is give them a hug.
intention normally,
What if you've choked them unconscious?
probably lift up their feet. But maybe that's me. Maybe I'm too concerned with the well-being of others.
Or just do a Lewis. Stand in guillotine and just drop them while they're unconscious.
Stride off.
Yeah, just walk off. Just like,
Yeah, there's an element of reservedness. Maybe again, it's the old man in me coming out. But there's a
it's hard to know because you have so much adrenaline going in that moment.
yeah, but there's a big.
You should probably just be gassed and want some water.
Exactly, I'd just be tired. No, I think that like personally, jiu-jitsu is not combat. It's not. And I think, but if you
Struggle cuddles.
But if you're treating it like combat, there's an earnestness that you need at the defeat of your opponent. Might make me sound super wanky, but like if you bring it all back to what jiu-jitsu was invented for, obviously this hasn't happened in your competition that you win, but symbolically they're dead. You've taken a life, right? That's what this is the reason why we all love combat sports and competition. Is like, if you extrapolate that out, you've beat them at the game.
Yeah.
But if we're not playing, there's an element of that that I think, and you see it in maybe it's because I started in, it's not even traditional martial arts, but like, because that's kind of wanky, but like, certainly Japanese jiu-jitsu, and again there's like different kinds of clubs, but so where I started when I was the smallest fish was very, we still have it now, but it's very based on the respect of your opponent. It's about the two of you rather than just about who you are and what you want to achieve, and you can't compete if you don't have your opponent.
No.
And I think there's an element of that, and you can celebrate and then go thank and check on your opponent.
Yeah.
Perhaps, I don't know. You, what would you do if you won? If you had set your goal and you were trained super hard.
So I think from my experience,
When you win gold at the reorg comp, we need to get all my bronzes up here, mate.
I think I feel, how do I say this? I feel like I show emotion, but generally on my face it's blank. Like when I go on holiday or something, someone will be like, at least look happy. It's like, I am happy. I'm actually really enjoying this. It's just, my face is just blank. It's the same thing with competing. Like the last comp that I won was Bournemouth Open.
Yeah.
And got my hand raised and just kind of, I think I'm smiling and look really joyful, but when I see the video back, I look depressed as fuck. I don't know. I think maybe just sort of like fist in the air, just like, yeah, cheers.
Yeah.
Or just, I don't know.
So you wouldn't be
So really awkward, like a bow.
so you wouldn't be slapping the map, pointing up to Jesus.
If I was taking the piss, probably. If I was just doing something, take the piss, I'd like slap it really hard and be like, yeah, number one. Because that was like one competition where I came second. I did the whole piss take thing on the podium. The guy was on the number one stand, and I just stood there in number two spot and just put two up instead. And he was like laughing.
Yeah.
No, because I remember the one of where Ashley won the comp. And the guy who came third, he's put his hand up as like number one. I was just like, mate, you're fucking last. You lost. Like, why is your hand up saying number one?
So I think I struggle a bit with people who take themselves so seriously.
But then if it's something you're trying to pursue though, like if you want to be number one or like
you can still take it seriously.
Yeah.
Like, look at Craig Jones, let's say.
But then the
I know his whole thing, like, he's the opposite of that. Like, everything's a total piss take.
Yeah, that's what I absolutely
But
love.
he does train really hard, and he is... But
he did.
yeah, but he is still one of the best to ever do it. And I know that he's built his whole thing around being number two.
Yeah.
Like, I know that's the whole thing, but, like, he is one of the best in the world. And look at him, because he knows there are lots of things that are far more serious than our little sport.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to maintain perspective on that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm grumpy and a killjoy and I don't know, but I think it's supposed to be, you're supposed to be having a good time.
Yeah.
You walk around competition and just like, mate, just
chill out.
It's lighter than you think.
I feel like when I take a competition really seriously is probably when I do the worst. Because it's not my natural way of doing things, I think. When I'm more relaxed and like chill, go in there as if like it's an open mat, I think it's when I tend to do my best.
Yeah, because because you are relaxed and you've let go of the other stresses of that
There's nothing
day.
I do in life is serious. Like my job, yeah, I have to actually work, but again, I still have a joke with customers. Like they'll come to pick things up, and I'll be like, "Yep, it's all done. It's in pink," and they're like, "Sorry, what?" And I'm like, "I'm only messing with you."
Yeah. Yeah. So there's an element of that which I think can make you better rather than make you worse.
Yeah,
I don't know.
but yeah, I think how long we've been going for.
Done an hour. Exactly an hour just then.
I think that might be a good place to stop then.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's keep some stuff back for when Uncle Maymay's back.
Yeah, we can dive deeper into the whole wrestling isn't needed for life or self-defense or anything.
Anything.
And flat earth as well.
It's fake.
Yeah.
Wrestling's fake.
And how...
Mason will tell you
Yeah.
it's fake.
And his love for North Korea.
What's under the pyramids.
Yeah.
All that stuff. We'll store that because he's the expert.
He is the expert.
Yeah. The
Right.
two-stripey blue belt.
Yeah.
Little Maymay two-stripe.
Cute.
Cute.
One day he'll get his third stripe.
Right, let's stop dig too much of a hole. 3, 2, 1.